My name is Albert Ake, and this is Aaron Eller. Today we're going to be talking about the Sopa and PIPA bills and the ACTA treaty. Aaron, do you know anything about those?
A little bit about them.
What do you know?
I know that it's they try to pretty much limit the free speech that you have on the internet.
Okay, so the first part of this is going to be focusing on the Sopa and PIPA bills. And Sopa stands for Stop Online Piracy, and PIPA is the Protection of IP Act. And what PIPA could not exist or wouldn't work unless Sopa was passed. And Sopa basically made it that if a user on a website posted a link to something that's copyrighted, basically a link to something that's illegal because he doesn't have ownership over it or permission. But what happened is that the website would be responsible for that user and would face fines, and thus would have to adjust their site accordingly. So let's just say, for instance, Wikipedia did this, or someone on Wikipedia did this. What happened is Wikipedia would face fines. They'd have to go through, look for all their users who are doing this, and then ban them, face fines, and it's just a huge problem for them. And people saw this as a gateway to much larger things. That they will start searching for things that aren't copyrighted, but they're going to use the copyright veil. This is what people believe would happen with Sopa. And if Sopa got passed, PIPA basically reinforces that. It's the protection of the IP, which would give the IPs even more power. So the people like AT&T, Hollywood, all of them, and to give them the power to just be able to shut down a website. So these two bills together, in many people's opinion, had to be stopped. Yeah. And on January 18th of this year, 2012, many websites went dark or posted items about their opposition against these two bills. The most famous of these is the English version of Wikipedia went dark for 24 hours. So you can still access it if you knew a few tricks. And they even came out and said that all we wanted to do was show people something. And if you loaded Wikipedia, it had this thing about Sopa and PIPA, and it had a petition you could sign to stop it. Google blacked out their logo, and if you clicked it, it linked to an infographic with another petition. Mark Zuckerberg, the CEO and founder of Facebook, came out with a status saying his opposition against Facebook, and many other sites. The Minecraft site, Reddit was a huge supporter of this one. Almost 200 sites did this on January 18th. Very effective, and almost a good 80-90% of the senators changed their minds and switched sides. Mm-hmm. Now, Aaron, did you sign any petitions I did. Whose websites did you sign petitions for, if you did multiple?
I remember that I signed for Wikipedia, Google. I signed for Razor.
Yes, Razor was another very popular site.
And I think that's about it. Maybe Facebook. I'm not real sure.
In fact, Razor went as far as that you couldn't even access customer support on that day either.
Yeah, and that kind of messed me up.
This was not the reason that you actually signed the petition, isn't it?
No. I mean, I just didn't agree with what Sopa was all about.
Okay. I mean, how do you think if this would have passed, how would this have impacted your life?
I mean, if we put it in perspective, 10 years ago when computers were just rising to kind of the levels that they are today, it wouldn't have had a big impact on us. But now that we are a technological society, it would have had a huge impact. I mean, for school, we use websites for, all things. We use it for studying, we use it for notes, we use it for just information in general. And, I mean, the internet is our source of entertainment for, lack of better words these days.
Okay. I have another question. You have a YouTube page, I assume, or a YouTube account, I should say. Do you have musical playlists on YouTube?
I do.
What would have happened with Aaron's playlist if Soap would have been passed, they would have pretty much all been taken down. And in fact, Aaron could have faced trouble by having them on his site. So that stretching the bill, it would have been within the feasibility of the bill to do it. What would happen is, and this is probably one of the biggest things that would happen with Sopa, that would be noticeably effective, is that the people who post music, not music, but videos with the lyrics and the song going over it, is actually technically breaking copyright law. But you don't see anyone these days getting up in arms about it. They just let it go. I mean, no one cares. They're still getting press. I mean, it's free anyways. most people who do this actually have the songs. So they have a very good copy. The quality is usually very good. I mean, it could even go to so far as the covers could fall under this bill on YouTube.
Yeah.
So if that would have happened, if you would have lost some of your YouTube, because not everyone likes to listen to the music video on their playlist. Some of them just want to get to the song.
Yeah.
So if this would have happened, like, would you really even use YouTube really after that?
Probably not. I mean, it kind of reminds me of what Napster went through years ago when they had to face all the trials against music directors and artists and everything. So I mean, a lot of people stopped using Napster because one, it was free, and then they had to start paying for it. But YouTube, it's all free, and I don't think anybody wants to pay for YouTube just to watch videos of random things. So I mean, I definitely would have stopped using YouTube, as I'm sure a lot of other people would have.
Well, Napster is a very good comparison to what this bill is, because Napster was shut down for its file sharing program, which was considered illegal and infringing on copyright material, based on what users were uploading, which is the key factor there. It wasn't Napster was uploading, it was the users.
Yeah.
And it brings us to another topic that arises. The day after the Sopa and the PIPA protests were successful, on January 19th, they came out and found out that the U.S. government, in conjunction with the Australian government, shut down the website called Mega Upload, which was run in Australia. And what happened was the U.S. officials asked Australians to arrest the owner and CEO of that company, and they did, and they shut it down. Mega Upload is actually one of is the largest file sharing site in the world, or was. Yeah. And it was also the most legitimate file sharing, with 90% of its files actually being legitimately used in copyright law. It was in full compliance. That 10%, however, of the user base is what made it go down.
Yeah.
And many artists supported Mega Upload, gave their songs to it. It had huge supports, but it was shut down. So sites like these come into contact. In fact, the bill could be stretched to the fact that places like iTunes, who legitimately have music, could, if someone's not liking the amount of revenue they're doing, they can say, oh, we never gave their consent. Like, the bill gives an unprecedented amount of power to people that many believe can be stretched.
Yeah.
And that's where we lead to the ACTA bill. Or the ACTA treaty. ACTA is the anti-counterfeiting trade agreement. It sounds like it has nothing to do with copyright. It has everything to do with copyright. In fact, it's basically copyright. This bill has been around for almost 4 years, has gone through at least 10 revisions. And what happens is ACTA is an international treaty that if a country signs it, they are legally obliged to uphold it. And I'm going to use the example that will be posted in the video later that explains ACTA. It's called it's the chicken analogy, the fried chicken analogy. I pay for a class and I learned how to make really good fried chicken. And I go to my friend Aaron, I was like, I learned how to make really good fried chicken in this class today. I'm going to show it to you. Aaron knows how to make this same fried chicken, which I paid to learn how. If the people found out that I told Aaron how to make that same fried chicken and he didn't pay for it, not only do I face legal trouble and could spend time in jail, upwards of 5 or more years, and pay hundreds of thousands of dollars in fine, Aaron could theoretically get in trouble as well. And then, and if it gets even worse if it's on a website. If Wikipedia just had one user linked to one bad thing, the ACTA treaty gives the people who own that copyrighted material the power to shut them down permanently, or at least long enough that it makes it so they can't come back again. And knowing this, Aaron, how do you feel about ACTA?
I'm not a big fan of it. I mean, it just sounds like they're trying to yet again kind of restrict, free speech and just our freedom in a sense.
Now, I should stress the fact that this is what can happen if the bills are passed. It's not specifically written that this is how it works. It's all up to the people who hold the copyright for the material, how they want to proceed. But the proponents of the bill are using these points to make it so that it's a gateway bill, treaty or bill, if you think about it. It leads to something else. Yeah. And a lot of people are saying, if this is how it starts off, free speech goes away. Because if I can't post something without fear of it being taken down because someone who actually owns this or whatever, it can get to the point where if I don't have the consent of the New York Times to tell Aaron about a news article I read, I could actually get in trouble. Yeah. And it's this gateway that many people think are causing some problems. Aside from that, if there's a petition that comes out, would you sign it for ACTA?
I would.
At this moment?
I would.
Okay. For anyone else who actually, do you have anything you want to say about the ACTA, PIPA, Sopa?
I mean, I think it's, one of those things that we're kind of taught to teach others. Whether we pay for knowledge or we gain knowledge through word of mouth. I mean, it's all kind of just, we're going to share it with you, you share it with others. That way we can make our youth or anybody more knowledgeable. And so it sounds like ACTA is trying to stop this this spread of knowledge, and to whatever extent it may be. And I don't think that's right. I think we should strive to try and spread knowledge and spread information. So, I mean, I would definitely sign a petition for it.
Okay, I have one last question. Let's say the ACTA is passed and that the U.S. does, for some reason, the federal government of the United States does sign this treaty. How would you go about your daily routine knowing that you could theoretically be charged for sharing information that you paid for to someone who did it? How would you go about your life knowing that?
I would be worried every day because you never know who would be listening. You never know who would be around the corner with a video camera or a microphone or whatever it may be. You never know who's listening. You never know who's watching, and that would play a huge impact, like a huge role and impact my life so much on a daily basis. Just having to look over my shoulder every second and wonder if I'm saying the right things or not sharing things I shouldn't share. So I think it's a huge role in all of our lives that we just don't think about what we say to people, and it would kind of force us to look at our lives and just watch over our shoulders each and every second of every day, just to make sure that we're not saying something that we shouldn't say.
Do you think this would also affect how you post or even just do things on Facebook as well?
Oh yeah, I mean, definitely. It's kind of like you hear a great quote and you're like, oh, I want to post that because I really like that, and it seems like that would be that would fall under the ACTA treaty. I mean, it sounds like you hear it from somebody else, and then they heard it from somebody, and it could be linked back, all the way to this one person, and every person in the line could get in trouble for it.
That's true. Books are copyrighted, though book copyright laws is very different than music, movies, and video games, etc. like that. So the odds of being in trouble for a quote from a book are less likely, but it's within the bounds of the law. But the odds that anyone will do anything about that, because the thing that most people I think quote are old novels, old poetry, stuff where the author of it is probably dead, and the family or the generations of families probably don't really care.
Yeah.
So that's less likely, but it's still a valid point. I have to agree that in the confines of the bill that you could get in trouble for quoting something. I mean, and if you want to think about how would that impact people who get tattoos? Could you get in trouble for getting a quote on your body?
Yeah.
How would that? Would you need permission to do it? And then if you do you have to pay a certain amount of money to them? Because there are royalties involved with copyright. To play a song on the radio, well, not on the radio. Sorry, to play a song or use a song in a song you're making or whatever, if you don't have permission, you generally can't do it, or you have to pay them royalties. So, just a little side note for you guys.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's all the questions I have. Unless you have any questions for me.
Not at this moment.
Okay, well, thank you. Also, if you want more information about ACTA, there's a YouTube video on the ACTA page of this website. They explain the treaty very well. It also uses the same chicken analogy I do, just a little bit more in depth. So check that out. There will be a link at the bottom of this video to go straight to that page. Thanks.